Stupid Garbage Podcast.
Oh, I like that. Hello.
Hey, gorgeous.
Hello.
How are you?
Awful. How are you?
I'm doing just fine, actually.
I'm not surprised about it at all.
Boy, oh boy. What do you got for us, kid?
Nothing.
Nothing
No.
at all. No, you're right. You don't have to pretend.
Today was muddled garbage, and I have been raised as a human being. R-A-Z-E-D, you see.
Got it.
And I saw my friend for coffee. That was nice. It's been a while, so that was fun. That was the highlight of my day, I'd say. Peaches came out for a really fucking long time. He's adorable. He is one of the lights of my life. One of the few lights of my life. And he just fucking was running all around his cage. He was so energetic. He was like, oh, can't catch me. And then I felt bad because the second I was going out to meet with my friend, he started getting really active. And I was like, oh, fuck. So I took him out of his cage because I accidentally scared him by walking too fast. And then I felt bad, so I took him out of his cage and we snuggled. But then I was like, Rob, I'm late. And he's like, don't worry, Jess, I'll take him. And I'm like, what? So Rob fucking exercised the peach today.
Yep.
So we are eternally grateful for Rob.
We got him on the Peloton bike and he just took off riding.
Does he ever do any underwater aerobics for you? I heard that is great for pets.
I don't think he's supposed to go in water.
Well, I would love to see Peaches try to swim.
I don't know. That's smart. I don't know that he can.
Well, they say not well, but...
Okay, well, I don't know what that means, so...
Exactly, I'd be curious to see. That's what I'm saying. I think that would probably be a form of animal abuse, but I'm just saying... As a, what's the word? Oh my god. I'm trying to think of the word, knowledgeable, what's the word? As an informational query, I guess? As a scholarly...
Academic?
Yeah, I think that's the word. As an academic query, I'd love to,
Query,
see.
not query.
It's a flurry of queries.
Okay, so why don't you...
I'd love to just see
Why don't you go into the bedroom and lie down?
I've been lying down in the bedroom all day.
Yeah. Just
From depression, dear reader, not because it's
that.
a cool hangout spot.
Keep doing that. Don't stop now. You're almost there. And
Don't stop me now. I'm in a depressive episode. I'm having a ball.
Yeah, this is bad. Go settle yourself down, and I'll just talk for 40 minutes, and then we can go to sleep.
Another thing, dear reader, you might have noticed that we've been on a Star Wars tantrum.
What?
A Star Wars
Binge?
tear. Thank you.
Tear, sure.
Tantrum was fine too.
No, it wasn't. No, it was not.
Well,
not the word you're looking for.
Well,
It's not the word you're looking for.
We've been on a Star Wars tear for the past 6 episodes, I'd say. Precisely
that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if... Yeah, I guess it would make sense that we did an introduction to Star Wars episode Anyway, yeah, we've been on a rampage, and welcome back, I guess, to...
A hissy fit, if you will.
I feel like it was a fair word.
It wasn't.
It wasn't...
You made a mistake. No. Apologize and we can move on.
I don't think so. I apologize all the time, and I don't feel like this one was...
Alright, I'm going down until you apologize.
Oh my god, you're such a drama queen. So anyway, welcome back. We're back to our normal antics. As you can see, Rob is already mad at me, so that's how you can tell.
Can't see anything.
I mean...
It's a visual lacking medium.
As you can hear. What else?
Bereft of any visual element.
It was really funny. Today was such a weird social thing happened where I was at the UPS store and I ran into a UPS guy that I had worked. He actually worked at my old. He didn't work there, but he gave us all the packages at my old company. So I recognized him, and we'd spoken a couple times. I think he asked me out for drinks once, and I didn't know if he recognized me because it's been 5 years, but I recognized him. And he just shouts from across the room, oh, hey, I like your sword. He didn't, I obviously have a sword tattoo and I know that, but, at first I was like, what?
And I know that.
No,
you can't fool me.
Sometimes, I don't know, if I have my hair in a weird way and some people are like, whoa, dude, I like the red. And I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? And I'm like, oh, I have red streaks in my hair. It doesn't always hit me and I don't always, remember what I'm doing or wearing or whatever. So, but he was just I like your sword. I was like, thanks. But it was just so funny that he, shouted that from across the room. And I was like, does he know who I am? Does he think I'm just a random stranger? It was, and I was like trying to, you know, show a guy a QR code on my phone and like pull up the right thing to coordinate with the right return item. So I was just like, I didn't ignore him, but I was having a hard time focusing on what I was trying to do and also talking to this man.
Were you not wearing pants?
I was not wearing pants.
What?
You saw the outfit I was wearing today. I was wearing leggings.
Right, but don't those cover your tattoo?
Absolutely not. They're the perfect spring piece of clothing.
Alright, this is going nowhere. I'm clearly not getting an apology out of you, so...
I think a tantrum was still, you know, at least adjacent to what I was trying to say.
So...
Rampage would have been a better word than tantrum. But I was thinking of the word tear, so a T word came to me first. This is as close to an apology as you're going to get.
It's not an apology, you'll note.
Well.
So anyway... God damn it. Terrible. That's a T word for you. We terrorist. That's what you are.
Did you see what I was doing?
No. Looking at your watch. Time. That's a T word.
I was telling you to do a time check, but...
TikTok.
Clearly you're ignoring that. Hey, what do you want to talk about?
Yeah.
You're kind of a monster right now.
Yeah, I'm on a real tantrum. So that is actually slightly more apt than when you use the word.
Thanks.
I mean, I just don't think you know what the word means, but that's fine. You just use words without any sort of forethought as to where they might be going or what they might mean, or that they might mean something at all.
Fast and Furious, baby. That's how I live.
Yeah, I mean, it's fast and infuriating, I think, is more approximately close to what it is you're doing. Let me see what I got.
Okay. Time check, dear reader.
Don't do that.
Why?
Don't try to tell me what to do.
I'm not telling you what to do. I'm doing it myself.
No, it's my thing. You don't get to do time check. I don't step on your thing when you do.
Yes, you do.
That bit you always do.
I don't. You step on everything that I've ever done.
All right, you have the floor.
No, you're checking your thing. That's the whole point.
While I'm doing that, you have the floor. Do a bit.
Time check, dear readers.
Do your own bit.
Oh, I don't have a bit.
So then you should...
Well, my bit is talking about the lizard. I already did that.
It's not a bit.
My bit is talking about my day. Already did that.
Okay. You don't know what any words mean.
I mean, I don't have
So I thought, if for those of you who are familiar with a different sci-fi franchise... Hold this. For those of you who are familiar with a different sci-fi franchise, I need this back. Thank you. The Terminator is a series wherein Arnold Schwarzenegger plays a giant time-traveling android robot, and he goes back into, from whatever it is, the year like 2022 or something, 2029, goes back to 1985 or something to kill Sarah Connor. He has to kill Sarah Connor because Sarah Connor has John Connor, her son, and John Connor ends up leading the human side of the resistance in the robot versus human wars in the 2020s. So Arnold Schwarzenegger is sent back by the robot side. They have a time machine. They go back in time to kill Sarah Connor. Instead of trying to kill her when she's a kid or something, or like maybe giving birth, they send Arnold back to kill her specifically when she is at her best equipped to fight off a time-traveling robot. You familiar with this? Yeah. So, just so tired. So, I was thinking, earlier today, that a better way to do this, because they keep failing. Like, they send a robot, and then they send another robot in Terminator 2, and then they send a robot to fight that robot, and then in Terminator 3, every single movie is basically the same thing, and they keep not doing it. Sarah Connor keeps not dying.
How does Terminator 1 end?
Spoiler alert, she kills Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Really?
Yeah,
like herself?
T-800.
As just a human being?
I thought it was the end of Terminator 3 wherein they kick one into lava, but that might have also been Terminator 1. One of them gets crushed by some giant machine. One of them, I think, gets electrocuted. One of them gets kicked into lava. Although I think in Terminator 3 she gets kicked into lava and that doesn't kill her. Because the Terminator, the evil Terminator in Terminator 3 is a lady robot. So, anyway.
I thought that was a good robot.
No. So,
That's not right.
It is right. So, it's 100% right. So...
Isn't that the new one?
No, that's like Terminator 6.
Gotcha. Never mind.
So, anyway, I was thinking that since that keeps failing, an alternative solution would be to just go back in time a little further and send a robot that can suck dick so well that you turn John Connor's father gay.
Good God.
And thus John Connor is never born. And so I had that inane thought of a robot that instead of engineered to being the perfect killing machine is the perfect gay sex machine. And so I had that stupid train of thought and immediately thought, that might be something worth talking about for 2 minutes on the podcast, but it's so dumb I'm going to forget it immediately. And so I wrote a note in my phone to remember it, and the only note was, come in my ass if you want to live. So that's all just to say that the process of my preparation is kind of frenetic and...
Do you want to see a crazy note that I have?
Freewheeling, sure. Don't pick up the phone when you do it.
Okay. It's really stupid, but I mean, I can just say it to you. But I emailed myself, I have found a way to destroy the placebo effect. Like, in a midnight fugue state, I just wrote that and then went back to sleep.
How much, if I may ask, how every night I know you take some LSD, how much is it up to? Is it up to 50?
It's like a tab and a half.
Tab and a half, okay, and those are 25s?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I just, the dealer just gives me and I just say, okay.
So, how do you, I'm curious now, what do you think the placebo effect is? Do you think because it's a comedy show, Jess? Because I'm joking.
You hurt my heart because I think you're serious and then I yell at you and you don't apologize and it ruins my day.
Neither do you. What's the note? How do you get rid of the placebo effect?
Do I know what the placebo effect is?
How do you get rid of to set up this bit? Yes. What do you think the placebo effect is? Do you think it's like a type of mold that you can get rid of with Raid or something?
It wasn't there like Ferguson versus Plessy? Isn't the placebo effect related to that? Placebo?
Oh boy. You're thinking of Bo Jackson. That's racist. How do you get rid of the placebo effect? Explain to the readers what the placebo effect is. Okay, not a great start.
No, I mean, I remember my theory.
Explain to the readers what the placebo effect is.
But it's the thing that's just so stupid.
Explain to the readers what the placebo effect is.
The placebo effect, dear reader, is referring to experimentation on, I think mostly people, but it's basically...
Entirely people.
Okay. But it's basically, I guess entirely people. It's basically saying that if you tell people...
Monkeys don't understand the concept of medicine.
You're right. No, you're right.
We gave this rat a pill that didn't do anything.
Well,
and thinking that it was getting cancer treatment. No, man. It just thinks it's getting a treat or Tic Tac or something.
As Rob was saying, yeah, basically, like, you could be, giving someone in an experiment and say, like, oh, here, this is a tab of LSD, but it's actually a tab of sugar water. And it's basically saying that people will just assume that they get high because, they took a tab of what they thought was LSD and therefore they'll kind of create symptoms in their own head that don't exist.
Yeah, I don't know that. I think the placebo effect only refers to reporting of medicinal medicine, obviously, kind of redundant, medicinal treatment and symptoms and signs going away. I don't think it's necessarily...
I would argue no. I would argue the placebo effect can deal with literally anything.
Like, I think it's just, you have a headache, here's Tylenol. It's actually just a sugar pill. Thinking that you're getting a Tylenol, your headache goes away, or you at least report that your headache goes away. I don't think it goes the other way around, where you add symptoms and signs.
I'm pretty sure it can go the other way. Where people can say that they feel worse because they took a pill that they were warned might make them feel worse, they will feel worse.
Yeah, maybe. All right, so how do you get rid of the placebo effect? I mean, my response to getting... A beneficial effect produced by a placebo drug or treatment which cannot be attributed to the properties of the placebo itself. And must therefore be due to the patient's belief.
Is it always strictly beneficial?
Yes, that's why that definition had the word beneficial in it. Yes.
Well, find me another one.
I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
It was the first definition I found.
I'll look into it, dear reader, but I'll probably forget
regardless, how would you get rid of the placebo effect?
I mean, I just, like, at night, I just got so enraged. And I was like, the placebo effect is fucking bullshit. And I just got so pissed. And I was like, I don't understand why we're not, like, why is that a thing that exists? So anyway, my solution was stupid and boring. But I'll tell it to you anyway because, you know, what else to do with a podcast platform?
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, yeah, if you just, like, I feel like a lot of the placebo effect, too, is, like, people don't really accurately think, and I was, again, thinking that this did apply in the negative, where it's like, oh, like, I haven't been sleeping well lately, and if you right now were like, hey, Jess, here's a pill, it's similar to melatonin, but it's a little different, just try it out, I would probably report a positive thing just because I don't think about my sleep patterns that often. So I feel like a lot of the placebo effect is, like, asking people that don't, like, they don't, if you do a study, and you have these people record their sleep habits or whatever for like a week before the study, and then you give them the pill, and then it's a placebo or whatever, I feel like they would report a lot more accurately versus just like, okay, patients, you know, half of them get this, half of them get that, let's see how it goes. Like if they just did it, you know.
You think it's just them paying more attention to their...
Yeah.
An interesting thought. It's possible that it could just be a side effect of experimentation itself.
Yeah, like yes.
But I think there are definitely, I don't know if the placebo effect is particularly efficacious or what level it works on, but I think there must be controls for that, where you give everyone sugar pills, or you give everyone medicine, and you can control for whether there are changes more perceived when they get medicine. Because that would be true whether or not you give them a sugar pill.
No, I'm not saying that the experiment doesn't work. I'm just saying that the placebo effect could be destroyed.
No, well, you're saying you're hypothesizing that what you're talking about, where you have much longer term experiments, pre-placebo phases of your experiment, would make the placebo effect not work. That's a theory that you have, a hypothesis. But
yeah.
You're stating that as though it's genuine fact, like you've done the experiment. I'm saying you might conduct the experiment and find that it doesn't matter.
Well, no, I'm saying it's a hypothesis. Well. Yeah, I am speaking as though it is already fact, but it is just my belief, my theory.
Yeah, there are a lot of interesting psychological experiments. Like, explain to the readers what the Stanford prison experiments were.
Don't know what that is.
Weren't you a psych?
Yep.
The Stanford prison experiments, good lord.
Wait, hang on, give me like a little clue. A little cluey.
Well, the title is pretty much all the clue you're gonna need. If you're going to get it, you're going to get it from the title.
Well, they're
the prison experiments that took place at Stanford.
There was a prison experiment I think they did with like eating disorders, where they gave prisoners eating disorders.
So the Stanford prison experiments, perhaps the most famous psychological experiments of the second half of the 20th century, maybe the 20th century, I think it was just one set of experiments, was an exercise wherein students from Stanford found that if they brought in people, I think they're already in the prison, and they switched the roles of the guards and the prisoners.
Okay, yeah.
The prisoners were just as cruel as guards.
They do this in classrooms a lot.
Well...
I mean, like a little bit differently, but...
No, but they... it's very, very often cited as proof that there are psychological effects to power and authority that corrupt people, regardless of, even if they know it's just an experiment and they know they're going to go back to being prisoners, because I think they use real prisoners for this, hence the term.
Yeah, exactly.
So even though they just still can't stop themselves, but it's a one-time experiment that has thus, I think it was in the early 70s, almost 50 years ago, has experiment results that were unable to be replicated. No one could recreate this experiment, and the methodology was extremely... They kept switching up, like every day they switched up who the prisoner and who the guard was, and they would go... The experimenters, the scientists or students leading this experiment would force they would goad the prisoners into abusing the people who they were guarding, or the guards and the prisoners. So they would... it was an extremely terrible, horribly run experiment that people always say, oh, well, it was unethical to you. Forget about it being unethical. It's a shitty experiment that doesn't prove anything.
Sure.
That's like saying, oh, yeah, monkeys are murderers. they have this violent rage inside of them because when I put a gun in a monkey's hand and then put its finger over the trigger and pointed that gun at another monkey and then made it pull the trigger, the other monkey died. It's like, yeah, you fucking moron.
Yeah.
So
that is weird. You're not supposed to
do any of that shit. I mean, but people it's still taught in psychology classes. It's still in textbooks. It's still cited as a legitimate.
Well, I didn't even remember it really.
Well,
so.
There you go. You're ahead of the curve.
I remember there was another one that they did that was, I think, more legit, where they would take kids and they'd be like, oh, everyone that's a blonde is good and everyone that's a brunette is bad. And then it was called
integration.
Yikes.
In the school systems in the
fucking
60s.
Yikes, Rob.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm the asshole.
Yes, you
I'm the
personally
because...
segregated an entire...
Oh, I'm going back down.
An entire nation.
Going back down.
No, the experiment, yeah, it's like they tell a group of kids, like, you guys are better for this reason, and the kids with this feature are worse. So then, like, you see a natural hierarchy, like, just develop, and, like, the, you know, blue-eyed kids or whatever will bully the brown-eyed kids, and, you know, and then even if you swap it, it's the same thing. So it's a similar concept that they do in schools now.
Yeah, that was a very popular experiment in Germany in the 30s. It's called the Hitler Youth. So,
it works.
I mean, I don't know if I would say it worked per se. It did something, but...
Well, I mean, Hitler said, hey guys, everyone with blue eyes is better, and they were like, alright, sick.
I buy that.
Yeah, they were like, sick, sounds good.
Hell yeah, we are. So
and
anyway,
not only were they like, we're better, we're like, we will literally kill for this.
Kill and die. So...
Like, they thought they had the right.
Yeah, so anyway, it's impressive what moral right of way people insist on having when it's given to them. So, ain't that the truth?
Bitches.
Bitches, yeah. So, first things first, time check, dear reader, it's 1:58 in the a.m. That's how you do a time check.
Are you waking up? Because you seem more
waking up,
and less angry with
ash and dust. I bite my brows and I lick my nuts. Something about the chemicals. Anyway,
you dirty.
I didn't write
your
the
rusty,
song.
Rusty nuts.
Yeah, exactly. Rusty trombone nuts. I don't know. So
French horn nuts.
Yeah, that's different. So
okay.
Thank
you for that.
Enough. So
your bit needs to be you being nicer to me. Thank you. That's our style of comedy needs to be adjusted.
That's not good radio.
It's better radio when people can get along versus one person being the victim.
It might be better for your recording experience, but it's not better for the listeners.
I'd argue that we can still do a good show without you being mean to me.
Okay. Again, you have to run the show if you are dictating the pace. You have to prove to me that you can do something in this new format that you're proposing.
I've been bringing up things too.
No, man, funny things. Things that aren't just you talking about your lizard for 10
okay.
minutes.
The podcast that you made me listen to earlier, there was like a dude that was just telling stories and the other guys were just laughing.
Right, so tell a funny story.
But I'm saying you could be the funny story and I could be the one that laughs and, you know, makes little comments about it. None of them were mean to each other. Anyway, what else?
It's entirely, I don't care.
What else you got?
Exhaustion, agita, a dwindling will to live. I saw an ad
Welcome to my
today.
World.
I saw an ad today. I don't want to be in your world. I saw an ad today that's a post online that said, "Oh, this aged poorly, huh, guys?" And it was a brochure for the Twin Towers, those buildings in New York that fell down. That
those buildings in New York.
Yeah, that fell down, and it was a brochure that showed it from like an aerial shot from a helicopter, and it said the World Trade Center, the closest some of us will ever get to heaven. And you go, wow, since all those people died, that's an awful bummer. But pre 9/11, that's a still terrible ad. Like, hey, are you a sinner and got a one-way ticket punched to hell already? Come to our building and go to the top of it and look at the sky and see the paradise that you'll never get into. Enjoy damnation for eternity. So, like, what the fuck? Who are you appealing to?
That isn't there.
That's precisely the only thing that it's saying. Some of us will never get into heaven.
If I saw a building that was so tall and they were like, come here and you'll be able to see heaven or whatever, I'd be like, that's fucking cool.
First of all, seeing heaven is slang for getting a blowjob in the parking lot. Second of all...
Well, I'd go to a building to get that done too.
Gross. Second of all...
present it and I will come.
Yeah, just like Field of Dreams. Field of Cream. So, don't you me, Jessica.
Field of Cream.
Jessica, I'm weaving wonder out of nothing. That's what you're handing me
You're
garbage.
Oh,
Yep.
how dare you call my gibberish garbage?
Suck on this. Hold that pencil in your teeth like a horse with a bit. So yeah.
There's my bit.
Yeah, there you go. We found it. Jessica,
You're right.
you can approximate the behavior and emulate the behavior of one barnyard animal per podcast.
Okay.
Today is horse.
Okay, ready?
That's not what a horse.
We're laughing.
Put your bit back in.
We're laughing like a person.
Champ at the bit. So, oh God. So it's a bad ad. Was the point? If the entire ad is come see heaven, it's I'm so. It's not even the train's been derailed. It's like the train has been turned back into a pumpkin or something. Like I don't even know. The train somehow went into a sinkhole in the ground. It's just gone.
It's dangerous.
It's not even off the rails. It's just not there anymore. You vanished a locomotive. I don't know how you did it.
Thank you.
Like David Copperfield or something. Yeah.
I'm a Sith.
Sith train vanishing act. Yeah, that's that really follows. Those dots really connect there. So
I just cause irrelevant mayhem that will eventually lead to your descent into insanity. I think eventually
irrelevant
it's
to what?
generous because you're already
Irrelevant to what? Irrelevant to what?
Irrelevant mischief?
Mayhem.
Just in general. Just irrelevant to literally.
Irrelevant to in general?
By definition, irrelevant just means that it's not relevant to anything.
No, it means it's not relevant to something. You can't have something irrelevant to everything.
It is irrelevant to everything. It is
Just
literally relevant to nothing. There's nothing going on, and I'm like, let me start some drama.
Fine. So irrelevant to the conversation.
To the conversation, to your general, happiness.
Put your bit back in.
No, I refuse. It gives me a lisp.
So don't talk. The point is that you're supposed to chew on it and not talk.
Like
any other horse.
Don't try to silence me, man. Patriarchy will not defeat me. Not today.
I don't think you can define the patriarchy as one human being.
You are a man, and you are trying to silence me. So
yeah, the patriarchy has to be an establishment or
sure.
You're
a symbol,
some sort
Robert.
of organization.
Just a symbol.
Anyway, I can't be your patriarch. I'm younger than you. You don't know the word patriarch means. It's fine. So, it's fine. It doesn't matter. It's a symbol that you don't know what it means.
You're a symbol.
Maybe like if Batman swooped out of the sky with a rectum on his chest, you wouldn't know what was happening. So
that does sound good for me as someone with Crohn's disease. To have a rectum be my...
The whole rectum. Anus, rectum. It's like the
Sure.
first 4 inches of butthole. So
literally whatever. Anything related to my entire... Like, from butthole to tongue.
This is your arena. Lean in, Jess.
No.
You have the floor.
Rob is literally leaning away.
I'm going down.
Leaning out, I guess. Here, you take the pencil now. And, that was it. My intestines are broken, and any sort of intestinal symbol would be a great... I actually have a pin of an intestine. Maybe I should look that up and give it a shout out next time because she's a cool lady that had cool pins that were for IBD patients. So I'll link that in the description.
No, you won't.
Yeah. Or I'll just give her a shout out next time. So I can find you the actual brand. And lady. And Etsy. Thank God he's back.
It's so it's like I struggle to find the words to describe how horrifying the problem is that the stakes are so low, and yet it would be like, this is clearly careening towards something terrible, like a chimpanzee being allowed to fly a plane. Obviously, it's going to crash very quickly.
Would you not argue that we're already there?
But, no, not when I have the reins. But and you're champing on your bit instead of talking. But.
Champing?
Yeah, champing. CHAMPING.
Okay.
But. I don't even. But it's such a small aircraft. It'd be like it's not a chimpanzee being allowed to fly a plane. It's like a chimpanzee being allowed to hand out balloons at an amusement park or operate a child's tricycle or something. Like, even if you do it horribly, what's really going to go wrong?
Sure.
And yet you do it so catastrophically that you turn it into a disaster. I can't just sit. You're welcome. You're very welcome. So
It's very sweet of you to say, and
yes.
I will go to bed happy tonight.
That's good. That's all that I want, is for you to go to bed. So
Oh my god. If you could just, like, pretend to love me once on this fucking podcast so that people don't think I'm just with a man that hates me.
I don't have to pretend to love you. I do love you. I have to pretend to find you intolerable to make this podcast funny.
Just...
Which you still don't seem to be understanding.
It hurts my heart, and I never agreed to this. So it's kind of like a plot within a plot. Anyway. My god. Yeah, it's like a fake out that turned real, you know? You could say. So you were saying, though...
I don't understand any of what you're talking about.
They will. You had
No,
your point...
I don't.
Well, they will.
I right now don't get what you're trying to say.
Like
I
how
would say
you're doing a bit by pretending to find me intolerable.
Yep.
But then that bit, there's a bit within a bit where I'm like, wait a second, do you actually hate me? And then you're like, no, I don't. But then I'm like, wait.
No, man, that's not a bit within a bit. That's just you. That's you having anxiety.
What?
Yeah. That's
No,
it.
that can't be it.
That's not.
I think it's
Inception.
like some meta
That's
shit.
just you. It's not meta. It's not layered. It's not whatever. What were you saying? What were you saying about what I was saying?
I was going to ask you to please bring up, you said you had other prep. Do you?
I did not say that, first of all. Second of all, the only thing I said about my prep was that it was frenetic. And I might have used the word listless, but I don't think so. So, I should have. So...
What was the line?
What?
What was the line about the Terminator?
Come in my ass if you want to live. So,
Oh, God.
So, I guess come in me if you want to live would just be better and closer to the original one, but that's not what I wrote, so...
Yeah.
Come in me if you want to live.
It's also really
It also,
funny
but the problem with come in me if you want to live still sounds so
too
much like
close.
come with me that
Yeah.
you don't even realize it's a different line.
Yeah.
So, pick
Also,
your
like,
poison.
You were saying that
dear
he was
reader.
a blowjob, so the fact that you
No,
brought...
I then, realizing that I was setting up a different line, said
Yeah.
that he was a perfect gay sex robot.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, you brought up the mouth thing, and now you're bringing the ass thing. It's painting a full picture for me. Even though you said sex generally, I assumed that ass would be involved, but now it's like, we're really coming in there. All
Really
right,
picky about your porn.
thanks.
Jessica does often strike me as the sort of person who would draw her own anime porn and then post it online and then complain that it was too niche. Or perhaps not niche enough. That does sound
accurate.
like something you would do.
Very much so, except
So,
I don't like
Flame
anime.
your own shitty anime porn.
I don't love anime, so...
Trying to stoke a reaction and getting someone to make better porn. So anyway,
I would be the one that's like, there's nothing that, like, is what I want, so I'm gonna just make my own porn. But then, you know, I can do that in my head. I don't need to...
have you ever watched porn?
Like, I've seen porn videos, but I don't think I've ever watched...
Yeah, there's a VHS, 1998 Girls Gone Wild. Gregory and I, as I've told before, worked in a warehouse, unporn related. We were just disassembling and then reassembling recalled,
Lice
unsold
combs.
lice comb. You were worried I wasn't going to get to the end of that sentence?
Yep.
On my own?
Thank you.
Here's your bit. So, Gregory and I worked for a summer on an assembly line going to Greg Corner, and I think I've mentioned this too. We would get there at 9. I think it was 9 to 5. It might have been like 8 to 4. But anyway, we'd get there at 9. Greg would work until 10. He'd go into the back of this big, big warehouse, and he would just listen to like 2 hours of Comedy Central Presents stand-up specials on his phone. A lot of Mitch Hedberg, a lot. So anyway, then he would go at noon. He would take lunch for an hour, and then I would take my lunch at 1, and he would take it with me. So he just took back-to-back lunch hours, and then from like...
What a terrible
And then
boy.
from 2, after my lunch was over, and I would usually take... I had an hour, but I would usually just take like 40 minutes. He would take the whole hour.
What a
and then little bit.
cutie.
Gregory, at like 2:10 at the end of lunch, would then go back to the warehouse, usually take a nap because he'd just eaten 2 lunches.
Oh my God.
And then if he woke up, he turned on, there was this giant industrial fan that was supposed to be for like cooling the electronic boards from these lice combs because they were broken, and we had to soak them in alcohol, then cool them. So he would take the giant fan, because this was July in a warehouse, and he would point it away from the boards and onto himself so he could take a nap in the back of the warehouse. But that, of course, meant that the boards didn't cool fast enough, so it was a pretty big bottom. Anyway.
Your brother is no good.
Anyway, and then he would come out of the warehouse at like 4 and work from 4 to 5, and then we would leave. He would work from like 4:15 to 4:45, and then be like, I'm not going to start another shipment. It's already 4:47, and it takes 25 minutes to, I got to be out of here by 5 to catch the bus. So anyway, he would probably work for about an hour and 40 minutes a day and got paid for, a full day. But anyway, when we worked at this, what are you doing?
Nothing.
Okay, sorry, I thought you were drawing on yourself. We worked at this.
No, I'm just touching the beauty marks with my eraser.
Yeah, we worked at this lice comb factory, but the warehouse had a bunch of shit in it that was complete. It was just they had rented this warehouse that they did not own. Someone else had a bunch of wares in it, and they were just using it for this operation. In it was a box of a bunch of old coins, and there was a cool duck head walking stick. Ooh. And then there was, which Greg took. And then...
Oh, I was going to say you guys should have stolen something. But...
We have 2 of those now, because Greg's like, I want one.
Can I have it?
No, Greg has both of them, and I think one of them broke. Greg's like, I want one, and Bob can't not have one.
Aww,
so he took me a similar looking one.
But also, that's just straight up thief.
Yeah, not only was it stealing, it's not even stealing from the company he worked for. It's just stealing from this dude who rented out his warehouse.
Yeah.
So anyway, one of the things that we found that no one took, but it's like 6 other people working with us.
Sure.
Was a still wrapped VHS of a Girls Gone Wild featuring Snoop Doggy Dogg.
Oh no.
From presumably 1998 or something.
Gross.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. I didn't realize Snoop Dogg. I didn't realize that those worlds ever overlapped.
I'm not surprised.
So you've seen porn, but only once on a microfiche.
No, people have shown me porn before. All of my friends and a lot of, a couple boyfriends have tried to have me get into it, and I'm just like, it's weird. I hate it. And I usually don't get off from watching random people have sex. If I can't, put myself in that situation, I'm like, why do I like this? Yeah. And a lot of the porn,
Not a lot of woman holding gun to the man's head pornography out there, I agree.
I also feel like the stuff that I'm into, I don't want to get too...
No, go ahead. Out the both of us.
I'm saying the stuff that I personally alone, without Rob, which is how I prefer to have sex...
Hello! Got him again.
The sex that I would prefer to have, it's also not very, typical, I guess.
I don't know. I don't think there's anything atypical about our sex life, personally. All right, I don't think laughing in my face was the appropriate response to that, particularly because we're on live radio, but... So...
okay. Anyway, I don't feel like I don't feel very represented, and also when the stuff that I feel like I am represented in goes real fucking hard, and it's this is not
okay. You ever watching a porn video on PornTube or Brazzers or Hamster X or whatever, and you see one on the sidebar where it's recommended for you or popular today, and you're like, okay, it's that little thumbnail, and you look at it kind of just peripherally, and you're like, oh, I guess it's a Harley Quinn looking, Batman looking roleplay thing, and then you just are back to my video, and then you see it again peripherally after a few seconds, and you're like, no, you don't have to click it, but you realize that it's not actually people. It's a 3D rendering. It's someone made a Sims 4 character and gave it a 10-inch dick and tits.
I'd play that.
And you're like, what the fuck is this? This is fucking crazy. Who's watching this? And then you see it's got 2.2 million views and your video has 4,000. And you're like, wait a minute. Is my thing weirder than that? Is my thing 500 times weirder than that? That can't be right?
Oh,
is this where society has taken us? Were people right about things being a slippery slope?
Oh my god.
Perhaps that is more than just a racial slur for a Vietnamese man covered in butter.
That was me attempting. I made a face at Rob, and I was like, how can I explain?
I thought that was your impression of a Vietnamese man, but...
No. That was me trying... Because I looked at you and gave you, an eyebrow look, and,
an eyebrow look.
Yeah, well,
All of them. If you have eyebrows, every look is an eyebrow look. A smoky eye.
I gave you a confused furrowed brow look.
Yeah, you gave me a contoured cheek makeup thing. I don't know makeup terms.
And
So anyway,
sorry. I'm sorry that I dropped
slope is a racial slur for Asian people. And butter makes people slippery. So anyway,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, I don't. Go ahead.
It doesn't do it for me. I just
butter.
No,
Pornography.
Taking us back to our conversation that had somewhat of a train of thought. I mean, yeah, you've shown me. Oh, well.
Hey.
Well, cat's out of that bag.
Just. Why don't you go in the bedroom, lie down, I'll wrap up here.
Wait for you, huh?
No. Just go lie down.
Show me the 400,000 view video?
Just
4,000?
Just go lie down. Just...
Why were you asking me about it? What was your point going to be?
I just wanted to bring in some sort of funny topic or something. I thought you'd have something, and you went, nope. I don't watch pornography.
I mean, even if I did, I'd be like, yep, porn's good.
If those seem like the only two options when someone brings up a topic as wide-ranging and broad as pornography, it's not really a yes or no question.
I mean, I did see...
It's an invitation to discuss something.
My friends, watched horse porn once. And then my friend from college found out, and he got everyone to call me horse porn girl for, a really long time, so that was funny. That's the only funny porn story I heard.
That is a very, very seamless, almost flawless explanation of why people in college called you horse porn girl. I'm sure everyone is believing that. Yeah, they called me that for 3 years, and since they were calling me that, I figured, well, I might as well get into it. I mean, it'd be weird if I wasn't watching horse porn if they're already calling me that, right?
I mean,
right? Guys,
I
right?
found out, my friend only found out that they did that in high school, a year into them calling me horse porn girl, so, it originated in two separate places somehow.
I'm sorry, I misheard you.
It was a bit.
No, I'm confused. Your friends in high school showed you horse porn?
Yes.
Or in college?
High school. And then my college friend, the one basically that causes all of my drama.
Just say someone.
He found out, and then he told everyone, and they loved it. They thought it was hilarious, and they were like, Jess, did you we know that you love animals, but we didn't know that about you.
How did he find out, Jessica?
I think he was introduced to my high school best friend, who was one of the people that watched the video with me. And she was he probably was what weird shit do you have on, Jess? And she's like, well, funny thing.
What is horse porn?
It was literally just a girl jerking off a horse. And I was like, I hate this.
Home movies, got it. So,
stop it.
What? I'm sorry.
Stop it.
You stop it. You stop watching animal porn.
It was another one of those things where, again, every single time I would tell my friends that I'm not into porn, they would, be like, well, but wait. And then they, showed me a couple of porn vids, and I was like, still don't like it, especially not with my friends.
I had some prep, actually. It's been sitting on the back burner for a while.
Please save me from this.
Well, no, it won't. That was related to Man o' War, who is a very famous racehorse, who I think sired Seabiscuit and maybe Secretariat and a lot of... Anyway, it doesn't seem appropriate now.
Look, it's gross. Also, I think people, some people do weird shit, and they're just this is fine. There was a lady that was, studying dolphins, and I watched a documentary about her. No. Yeah, and she would, jerk off the dolphins, and I'm like, can you fucking not? And that was gross, and I wish that they didn't include that in a fucking documentary, but...
I saw... Yeah, no, you were watching animal porn. I was... that's not a documentary. Why would the History Channel put this... They weren't. They didn't.
Maybe
this is not Animal Planet.
All I watch is porn.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I think I'm watching, comedies and chick flicks and...
Why does this walkthrough of The Sims have so much anal sex in it?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Isn't this a child's game? So, yeah, I remember watching... It didn't show any horse sex... But it was some interview with some guy, and I think it was a couple. They were in their 50s, and they had sex with horses. And the man referred to, he, I guess, had sex with female horses. Or,
okay.
I don't know. And he said when you bring him to orgasm, which I feel like a human penis couldn't. Isn't a horse dick 2 feet long? Anyway.
It's how you
he said he said something akin to the closest... to nirvana you can possibly get on this earth is when you feel a maregasm.
Oh, he called it a maregasm?
He called it a maregasm, and it made me want to find him and peel his face off. With
Is
my
it like,
hands.
I mean, is it qualified? Like, I mean, okay, sorry. This is a documentary that you saw?
It was like a 7-minute interview on YouTube that was part of like a 2-hour documentary series that I did not watch the 2 hours of.
Okay, so is this like a situation where it's like we're exposing them, they're confessing on interview, and then we arrest them, or like we take their horses away? Like, it does
seemed like that was not the case, but I
like
don't know.
having sex with animals is not considered animal abuse somehow?
No, it is. It is. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm before you start this rant.
Good.
I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna pull the plug on this.
Well, again, if this dude is admitting to fucking horses, it kind of is alarming that, you know, there wasn't like some backlash or like we took his horses away after this.
Maybe there was.
I
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, a maregasm. Oh my lord. Why would you want? Like, even thinking about my lizard having sex with another lizard just makes me want to gag. Like, I don't like it. It's gross. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know.
Gag on that lizard dick. So yeah, I don't know. I don't. I mean, I don't understand the compulsion, but
also, like, oh my god. Also, I don't know. I thought animals also didn't have sex for pleasure, so like, what would an orgasm even be for that? They say like dolphins, apes, and
even
humans.
within humans, is the female orgasm a real thing?
Does it
argue
exist?
no. No, but
I think a lot of women just,
think,
they're faking it all the time.
I don't see why higher level mammals wouldn't be able to have orgasms. I don't.
Because it's like...
I like to think about it a lot, but I don't see why they wouldn't. It would compel them to have more sex.
I also feel like orgasms, like, are especially for, I mean, only for females, it's like the tightening of the vaginal muscles, which is supposed to pull the sperm up towards the eggs. Like, it makes biological sense.
They might not have sex strictly for pleasure, but they might still orgasm. I mean, male animals definitely orgasm.
I know, but I feel like especially, like, human women do have a harder time orgasming than men. Like, I feel like men actually have to try, but like with a man, it's like if he just does a couple things for a couple seconds, he will like 100% orgasm. For the most part. Obviously there's a lot of situations where that's not true, but I'm just generalizing here.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, I don't know.
So for me, I would assume that male animals would have orgasms.
I regret every decision I've ever made that led me to this point in time.
I agree with you. It's disgusting. Yeah. And I agree with you. I would love to find this man and peel his face off.
Let's back away from this a little more than we already.
Sure.
Anything to take us out on, maybe? About a week ago, you said you asked about Clerks and Kevin Smith, and like, how did he make that movie? Yeah. Wasn't he out of nowhere? I remember seeing an interview with him a few months ago, maybe. An interview that he gave in like 2004, where someone asked him like, "Yeah, I'm interested in starring movies. How did you get the money to make a movie?" And he went, "Oh yeah, I worked at a movie store." And I called like a dozen different credit card companies and told them that I owned the movie store, and gave them the number for the movie store that I worked at.
Oh my God.
And so they would call, and I would say, yes, he works here. Kevin Smith works here. Yes, he's my boss. Yes, he makes $50,000 a year. Wow. And so they gave me, credit cards with these big spending limits, and so I just got like $650,000 in credit card debt to make my movie. So that's how some people fund their movies. Oh and he was like, yeah, if you're really interested in doing that, like if you're serious about making movies, get like 10 credit cards and max them all out. That's what I would recommend you do. That's insane. That's like really... Oh, sure. It's crazy. It's not bad advice, because I'm sure he has a point where that would make your movie better for sure. But also, it's not the best plan. Especially considering how many people actually make it. Yeah, no. It working for Kevin Smith and it working for anyone else in that arena. Like, you got lucky, and then you're telling everyone else to just risk their lives. Yeah, I won the lottery. Just buy lottery tickets. Yeah. Anyway, well, buy 200 million lottery tickets. Look. I mean, you probably win at that point. You just spend more than you win. So yeah, that's that. That's all I got for now. Yeah, he came out of nowhere. I watched a documentary on him. I mean, I don't think it was very long. I think I watched it like on my phone, so it was probably like 15 minutes or something. But probably 11 seconds. I don't know. It's hard to say. I see how quickly you cycle through shit on your phone. Yeah, it's quick. But I remember like stopping at this one, and I was like, I must watch this. It was really good. It was really interesting. This advice or this recommendation would be a lot better had I known who the producer or, It's fine. You did your best. You did your best. See you later, pod racers. Please help me.